Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah Kadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shai being the name of his only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now, the kingdom or the empire of America, which this empire of America is a huge empire, this great city where you have 300 million citizens, because a city represents citizens. This great city, it is coming to an end. See, this great city has the greatest military force in the world outside of Russia. They have 800 military bases. Out of the 840, they have 800. That's almost 100% of the military bases around the world. They have the shipping industry where they move goods all around the world. Started here in this great city which they call America. They have the greatest slave class, where the blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans are in a slave servitude position, a low class position where they can work them for free. You see? And so this great city and empire, the American empire, is coming to an end. And the next empire that's going to rule, like Daniel 2:44 says, is not going to be left to any other people. Daniel was from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. He was saying that the next kingdom is not going to be left to any other people. It wasn't going to be a kingdom for all people. No, it was going to be a kingdom for his people. Daniel 12:1. The prince Michael shall stand up for the children of your people, and they will have an everlasting kingdom. They will have a kingdom that will be only for them, because they made most of the kingdoms rich. Most of the kingdoms in the history of the world, they made these kingdoms rich due to the slavery and the hard bondage that they had to serve. The reason this great city was called Babylon the Great, because Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, was one of the examples how the Israelites went into captivity to another nation. They was taken out of Jerusalem and taken to Babylon. So the same way that happened, you had the transatlantic slave trade, where they wasn't taken out of the homeland, but they was taken from wherever they was living, and they was transported to this American continent, and they start to serve hard bondage. Jeremiah 50:33, it says that they were oppressed together, the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. The blacks and the Hispanics and Native Americans was oppressed together, and the people refused to let them go. What people? The American empire, the rulers. See, it was clear back in the Jim Crow era the first Jim Crow era because you had segregation. Everything was segregated. And so it was clear that it was a slave class and it was a dominant class. You see, you had a water fountain where it says whites on this side and colored people on this side. They didn't have a name for them. They didn't call them African American. They didn't call them blacks. See, they call them coloreds. They just threw a broad name on the people of color. The Northern Kingdom and the Native Americans was possessing this land, and they came and destroyed and slaughtered 70 to 100 million natives that was here before they came. You see, clear history that is well known. And so now, after this American empire have ruled and lived luxurious off of the slave labor of the blacks and the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Now that kingdom is fallen. And now, like Hosea chapter 1, verse 10, it says that the Israelites would be as the sand of the sea, and they will realize in the land of slavery where people were saying that they wasn't God, well, they wasn't the children of God, they wasn't the people of God. In that land of slavery, it will be said that they are the sons of the living God. And so, like Ezekiel 37, it says that the children of Israel will wake up and be an exceedingly great army. They would come to life. That means in the land of slavery, they would realize and bethink themselves, like 1 Kings chapter 8, verse 46 through 48. In the land of their captivity, they would bethink themselves, remember, be brought back to understand that they are the children of the living God, the children of Israel. Like in Romans 9 and 7, they are the children of God. They from the promised seed of Isaac. Jacob was chosen out of Isaac. The promise went to Isaac. It didn't go to Ishmael, the Arabs. It didn't go to Edom, the Edomites, the so-called white man. It didn't go to the Hamites or any other kind of nationality. The only children of God came out of Isaac, and they came out of Jacob. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And through that bloodline, you get the Israelites, because Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and you get the Israelites. And when you go into Google and you look up the worst slave trade, the greatest slave situation in the world that ever happened, it was with the Israelites. You're going to see the captivities of the Israelites, and then you're going to see the transatlantic slave trade of the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what you're going to see. You're not going to see no other situation. They're not going to bring up the Japanese, because the Japanese never left their homeland, and just a small number of them was taken from their, pretty much taken from America and so-called made to serve and do whatever they needed them to do, put in the gold mines or whatever they had them doing. And then you got pretty much nobody else that you can tack on to being in hard bondage to these red dragons. See, to the serpent, the adversary of God, the deceiver, the lion, snakes, The Native Americans called them a fork-tongued group of people. They signed 500 treaties with the Native Americans and broke every last one of them and slaughtered the people and took their land, because it was all boiling down to this moment where they was going to be a filthy rich nation that would fall in a short period of time. When you go to Revelation 18, it talks about how they would fall. Babylon the Great has fallen because it was great and it fell in a short period of time. The Lord hit them with a pestilence. When he hit them with the pestilence, it destroyed their economy. That was the plague that came and destroyed this place. And so now the Israelites who awakened, like Revelation 11 and 11, the Spirit of God, the Spirit came into them and they came alive. What Hosea chapter 6, they came alive and revived. What Hosea chapter 4 or chapter 3 verse 5 and 4 and 5, they returned because they was lost. That's why they took Matthew 18 and 11 out of the Bible, because it says that Yahushua, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ, came for those that was lost. The Israelites was lost. He told his disciples in Matthew 15 and 24, he only came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Those lost sheep was the Israelites in the land of their captivity who didn't know that they was Israelites. They was lost. Their identity was lost. And so now that they found their identity, the Lord say in Joel 3 and 2, he gonna gather all the nations and war with them for his chosen children, the real Israelites. See, he's gonna war with all these nations and cause them to come to war with each other. So he gonna give the kingdom to his people. That's what Daniel 2:44 was all about. But Revelation gives the prophecy. Revelation give us the prophecies of how these Israelites is gonna rule. Revelation 1 and 6, it say, I have made he, the Most High, have made us kings and priests unto God and his Father. Yahushua, through his blood sacrifice. To him be the glory and dominion forever and ever. Okay, chapter 5 and 10, it say, has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. See, the Israelites is going to reign on the earth. Look at here. It talks about how they was going to reign. Verse 4, it says, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. See, this 144,000 is going to reign on the earth. Let's get Daniel. Daniel 7 and 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even ever and ever. See, the saints was the children of Daniel's people. Let's just look peek at that real quick. And at that time Michael shall stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of your people. See, the angel talking to Daniel and telling him the children of your people, the Israelites, Michael is going to stand up for them. And they going to take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever. Isaiah 2. Isaiah 2 and 2. 2 and 3. 2 and 3. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established on top of the mountain, and shall exalt above the hills, and all the nations shall flow into it. All nations is going to have to flow to the Israelites. Verse 3, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob. See? And he shall teach us his ways, and we shall walk in his path. For out of Zion, Zion represents the Israelites. It don't represent a funky piece of land. It represents the Israelites. Shall go forth the law. The Israelites gonna give the law. They're gonna be the police. They're gonna be the military force in the world. And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Let's prove that Zion is not talking about no funky piece of land. 60:14. See, that's what a Christian pastor would say. It says 14, the sons also of them that afflicted you shall come bending unto you. See, they're going to have to go to the Israelites. And all they that despise you shall bow down themselves at the sole of your feet. And they shall call you, the Israelites, the city of the Lord, the Zion. See? The Israelites is going to be called the Zion of the Holy One of Israel. That's who the law is going to come from. Because these peoples that had us in slavery, they going to have to bow down to us. And that was the blessing we was given from the jump. Genesis 27:29. He told Jacob, he said, let people serve you, and nations bow down to you. Be Lord over your brethren. Let your mother's sons bow down to you. Cursed be everyone that cursed you, and blessed be he that blessed you. Now Esau, our so-called brother, who came out red like the so-called white man, he cursed us. Look at verse 41. It says, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother. See, he cursed. He put a curse, or he didn't put no curse. He cursed Jacob in his heart, and it went to all his descendants. And they are going to be cursed. They're going to have to bow down and serve. That's what, when it was in the womb, that's what the angel told Rebecca. He told him, verse 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. The elder, the so-called white man who came out first, he gonna have to serve the Israelites. That's Amos 9 and 11. When the house of David get created again, the Edomites is gonna have a remnant of survivors, and they're gonna be the first peoples in slavery, or the main slaves serving the Israelites. Just like we the main slaves serving them, they gonna be the main slaves serving us. You see? And this is how the story goes. See, the real Israelites, is the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves. You ain't be no so-called white man and think you an Israelite. You ain't never went into hard bondage to nobody. Being slaughtered don't make you a Israelite. Being slaughtered make you an Edomite. In Revelation 6:4, it says that the red horse would kill one another. See, World War I, World War II, the Civil War. Anytime that you seen a bunch of white folks killing each other, that's just a prophecy being fulfilled of Revelation chapter 6, verse 4. They would kill one another and take peace from the earth. The Israelites, on the other hand, like in Isaiah 14, serve hard bondage. Like in Jeremiah 30:8, they had a yoke of bondage around their neck. They was in trouble under the so-called white man, which are the Edomites. And now the Edomites' kingdom is falling, and the Israelites is gonna take over from him. That was that 2 Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The Israelites is the next rulers, and the Lord is gathering these nations to World War III to make it come to pass, to bring Esau's world to an end, and to begin the kingdom of the Israelites. I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.